Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest, Mary Ellen Ciganovich. She has sent me two absolutely stunning books. One is Truth, Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing, which is absolutely true. And it's 366 daily truths to guide you. The most beautiful book with absolutely exquisite cover here. And the other book is The Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire. Words are extremely important. What we say to ourselves, what we say to others. Very often, if we're mean to others, it's a reflection how we feel inside. And that dialogue with self is probably the first step that you need to take in any form of healing, because if what we say to ourselves is what manifests within our body, sickness comes from that dis-ease, disconnect. And it's very, very important that we not only speak well to ourselves, but to others, and create a harmony and a vibration in which we wish to live. And words do matter. The soul, sticks and stones will break your words will never help. No, words matter. They matter how you say them, to whom you say them to, in which tone you say them, and how much you believe them. So let's take Mary Ellen's journey as to writing these books. This is a thick book, folks. She put some real time and effort into that one. So let's find out her journey into leading to this, because she's had a journey. She's been faced with some diseases, and she's been faced with a few other things that she's had to override. And that takes courage and strength. And then she took that courage and strength and put it into some beautiful books and some beautiful teachings and a video that she does every day to help you on your journey. Our perfect kind of customer right here in Self-Discovery Media. Welcome, Mary Ellen.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. It's such a blessing to be on your show. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that's listening, and just grateful to be here.
Okay, we all have a crossroads at life. You know, we live this life of expectation as we grow up. You should be, you've got to do, all of that type of stuff. And then somewhere along the line, it could be a nice nudge, a wink, wink, a cosmic 2x4. Something comes along to change our direction. And it does that because it's telling us we're on the wrong path, and that we have to take the inside journey before we can take an outside journey. Was there any particular moment in time that happened to you? Have you always been on this journey of truth?
I think I've always been on a spiritual journey, although of course you don't know it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 6, and I was always told what I couldn't do. You know,
Yes.
you can't marry, you can't have kids, don't tell anyone you have it. And I was like, and I was always told, well, at least you don't look like you have it. And I used to think, what do people with epilepsy look like if I don't look like I have it? I mean, and so you go through all those, and it's not that my family was trying to hurt me, because they weren't. At the time period, I was diagnosed in 1958. So at the time period, they were simply trying to keep me safe.
Yeah.
And away from the societal prejudices. So you go through that, and I went through high school. When I was a cheerleader anyway, I modeled downtown Atlanta anyway, and I applied to the University of Georgia. And my mom goes, well, okay, we'll send you your medication. Okay, fine. And I joined a sorority, Alpha Chi Omega, and I finally told one of my sorority sisters that I was rooming with. I said, well, I have something to tell you. And I took forever. And I said, I have epilepsy. And she goes, so what? No big deal. Evidently, you have a very mild case of it. And I'm like, so no big deal. Okay. So then went through school, and I was about to get married to my first husband. It took me 6 hours to tell him what I had. So I didn't want to get married without telling somebody.
Right.
And he finally goes, well, thank God. I thought you were going to die. That's nothing. And I was like, what? What do you mean that's nothing? And then his mother, my mother-in-law at the time, was very instrumental into helping me see that I was okay anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Until
Yes.
the birth of my first child, or that's my only child, which was Stephanie. And at the age of 3, she was diagnosed with epilepsy. At which point, all those teachings of you can never have a child or anything came back, and I just broke. And I was mad at God for a whole year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
little blonde me was mad at God. I said, "How can you do this? How can you do this?" So I finally took her up to the Yale New Haven University, met with a world-renowned neurologist who told me at the end of our stay, he put me in first, put Stephanie in next. He said, I don't know who diagnosed her or why, but you have a perfectly healthy, normal child. Okay. That was great news.
Wow.
I never thought about going back and suing anybody because, doctors do the best they can. All
And they
right.
jump to conclusions a lot of the time.
And if you buy into that picture of what
Yeah.
they say without getting a second opinion, without checking it out,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm the one responsible, not the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Stephanie's now a PA. She's in Idaho right now. She's about to go to Ecuador to climb another mountain. So she's doing great. All right. So I go through, and my first husband leaves, and he says, "I don't love you anymore," and left. And I was like, okay. And I was angry about my childhood, and angry about him leaving, and angry about everything. And angry is depression, so I was depressed. And so a friend of mine told me to go to the Atlanta Awareness Center. They could help me. Because I'd been to different psychiatrists, and depending on the psychiatrist you go to, yes, they can help you. And a lot of them have their own problems. So
I
you
know.
have to find one that works for you. So I went to the Atlanta Awareness Center, and I started studying something called A Course in Miracles,
Mm-hmm.
which really woke me up to myself. And it brought me so much peace, and it brought me so much truth. I'd always studied and read all the books of the Bible. That's all fine. And I'd always looked for alternative ways of healing, whether it's Ayurvedic healing, Chinese herbs, whatever. So I studied through the Atlanta Awareness Center for probably about 3 years and came to a lot of peace. Met my second husband, and I'd been playing tournament racquetball since about 1986 just to get all the frustration out of my system. And when I played racquetball, I would get dizzy and lose my footing. And my neurologist just shook her head. She goes, "Well, you have MS, you have multiple sclerosis." Well, I didn't have any idea what MS was,
Mm-hmm.
this in 1986. And I looked at my daughter and I thought, well, I handled the epilepsy, I can handle this too, although it's been a little bit more challenging. And so when I met if you went on a date and didn't like somebody, all you had to do is tell them what you had. They'd turn around and take you home. But when I met Pete, I really, really liked him. So my daughter's like, "Did you tell him? Did you tell him?" And so we went to the gym, and I played him in a game of racquetball. And I gave him 14 points. You only played a 15, and I beat him 15-14. So that night I told him I had epilepsy. So he goes, "Okay, whatever." A couple of days go on, and I said, "Well, I've got one more thing to tell you." And I just kind of hemmed and hawed, because you never know how somebody's going to
Yeah.
take a diagnosis of MS. Okay. And I said, "Well, okay, I have MS, multiple sclerosis." And he just sits back and he goes, "Well, okay. And is there anything else you have to tell me?" He said, "I love you." And we've been together. We've been married 23 years now. So, and
Yeah.
everything works out
Yeah.
when you're okay with the diagnosis.
Exactly.
Then everybody else will be okay with the diagnosis also.
Yes. I mean, how many people get a diagnosis of something and become sicker or become sick
Mm-hmm.
purely out of the diagnosis? There are many people that are diagnosed with cancer or heart disease or this or that, and they go, "Oh, I'm dying," and they do.
Yeah.
It's and I'm not talking about years later. I'm talking
Yeah.
about really quickly, because they gave up. They gave in to the disease, and a
Mm-hmm.
disease is just a reflection of something going on. The
Mm-hmm.
body breaks down when the heart and soul isn't activated, right?
Exactly.
So you have to have an activation there, and sometimes an illness is given to you to slow you down, depending where your
Mm-hmm.
energy is at. Um, or it's your challenge in life to overcome, because what you're going to learn from that strength and courage
Mhm.
is going to be part of what the work you do, part of the service you do later. But giving up is not a, resistance is futile,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
okay, you've got it, now what do you do with it?
Yeah,
And
everything's a wake up call. And
yeah, it
that's what I
is.
teach people.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first was diagnosed with MS, I went home. The next morning, I called the National MS Foundation. This was back in 1986. And I said, well, send me all the literature you have about multiple sclerosis. So they sent me this big packet of literature, and it was so negative.
I know.
I was like, oh my gosh. So I called, and I was teaching middle school at the time, and my students would tell you, don't get her mad. You don't want to get her mad. Okay. I don't get mad often, but when I get mad, I kind of
Yeah,
lose.
yeah, combustion.
I called the National MS Foundation. I said, how dare you send this packet of negative literature? How can you do this? And they said, well, we hate to tell you. And I said, I hate to tell you. And I just slammed the phone down. And of course, I couldn't shred things back then. I didn't have a shredder. I took the literature and I just trashed it.
Hmm.
And what I teach people was that I was buying out of that negative
Yeah.
picture. You
Yes.
know, I was created, and it's not that I don't have MS inside me to deal with. Of course I do. When I get stressed out, when I don't get enough sleep, when I eat the wrong foods, diet is so very important.
Hmm.
And exercise, I exercise religiously every single day, and I always have. I mean, that's just something that I've always done. And you can handle it. You can handle this MS monster. Yeah, some days are worse than others. I got that. And if you need help, there are natural ways out there. There's Ayurvedic healing, there's Chinese herbs, there's all kinds of varieties of programs that you can go to.
And that's the kind of the external way of looking at it. But how many people do we know? And I'm sure you know quite a number of people that have been diagnosed with something, and they've either managed to cure it or they've had to learn to live with it,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
it's the managing of it, and they understand that staying in the land of positivity and wonderment and exploration and
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
is going to give them all the strength they need. And like, a
Yeah.
bad day isn't the end of times, it's simply a bad day. And
Yeah.
it's a day to nurture and love yourself, not go, oh, is this it, because we have enough soap operas, we don't need, and you
Yeah.
don't need one in your own life. So it's
Yeah.
how, and it also doesn't mean giving in and like, I'm, hurting today, but I'm going to push through. I'm going to show this pain where I'm at. No, just it's saying, love yourself, nurture yourself. This is a day where you
Yeah.
need to give yourself the attention and not everybody else. So that attunement
Exactly.
with self is so important, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I teach people. You could either come from love or fear.
Yeah,
Okay. And so you want to approach, in my case, MS with love. Not that anybody should love having MS, but when you put your arms around it and give it a great big hug and say, hey, I can squeeze the living dickens out of you, and I can put you back, my monster, back in his cave. And you learn how to live with it. If you approach it with fear, if you go, oh my gosh, when I have MS and I'm going to be this, well, that's what you become, because what you
yes,
focus on expands and what you think
exactly.
about happens.
What
To
you
the
think
extent
grows,
you
right?
focus on, of course you're going to be that
Yeah,
way. You have to think the thoughts you want to create in your life as if they already are that way.
yeah. Yes. I mean, when we talk to people about living in the now, in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, that, the gift of the present is in the now. And
Mm-hmm.
it's what you do in the now which will set what your tomorrow is going to be. So
Yes.
whatever seeding you're planting, make sure you water and nurture it always, each and every
Mm-hmm.
day. And you can plan for tomorrow, you can, schedule for tomorrow, but
Mm-hmm.
don't live in tomorrow or yesterday. I
Yeah.
think more people live in yesterday than they do in the present. And what is the gift of the day? And if the day is, yeah, you have pain, you've got to take care of yourself today, that's just the gift from the universe telling you, don't forget to love yourself.
That is
Right?
very true. Very true. You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else.
Yeah,
You
let your cup
can't
runneth
give you
over.
can't give to somebody something else you don't have. It's
Exactly.
just like if you asked me for a dime, and let's say I don't have any change in my pocket, I don't have a dollar bill, I don't have anything. I can't give you a dime because I don't have it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then there's the other side of the coin when people know that you are a giver and a sharer and a healer, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden the piranha teeth come out.
Yes.
And then they want to suck the life out of you to
Yeah.
rejuvenate them. And of course, then there is the boundaries that we need to
Hmm.
have to protect ourselves. And I think people get very lost in what is a boundary, you know,
Yeah.
and that boundary is you know which vibration you resonate on,
Yeah.
and resonate with people that are within that frequency. If
Hmm.
you've got people at that lower frequency who just want to suck the life out of you,
Hmm.
that's where you just say terribly sorry. When you've risen up, I'm there for you, but I'm not coming down to get you.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients that I work with by Zoom or phone or whatever. And what I do, what I teach them to do around other people is to put their shields up. Because when
Hmm.
I'm working with a client that's has issues coming from a lower vibration,
Yeah.
and I'm here to assist them on their journey of life, then I put my shields down so that their stuff doesn't become my stuff.
Yes.
I got enough junk in my bag. I don't need your stuff too.
And that is, it's well, it's a very hard lesson to learn, because I was the emotional healer and I take on the emotions,
Oh yeah,
and then how do you disperse of those people's emotions, and they get mixed up with yours, and whose is whose. So
yeah,
yeah, that shield around you where you have enough loving vibration to go out and help them, but not allow any of that discord to come into you.
yeah.
I'm just going to read one of your pages from the healing book.
Okay.
Disease and sickness. Disease is an illusion of the mind.
Hmm.
When you are not at ease with your life, then a disease will appear to assist you in learning all of the lessons you need to learn while on this planet, this plane of life. Learn that you are as healthy as you want to be. You are in control. Stop giving away your power to others. You are your own physician. Heal thyself, to thine own self be true, which is extremely
Hmm.
true. Yes, you may have something that still needs some medical attention,
Hmm. Yeah.
but you have got to be the physician, and the external physicians are working with you. It's
Hmm.
not giving yourself over to
Yeah.
them and abstaining from your own healing.
Yeah. I have doctors that I go to, of course. And before I go to a doctor, I talk with them. I almost like interview them
Yes, and you
because
should.
I want to handle my case of MS my way. I
Yeah,
don't, now that they have the shots and everything, and and I tell my neurologist, you can tell me about that all you want to. As long as I am doing as well as I'm doing,
mm,
I'm not going to rock the boat, you know.
right.
And he'll even tell me, well, you haven't had a seizure in like over 36 years. You can probably stop your medication. Well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's no
Yes,
big deal. It's
right.
like 2 pills a day, not a problem.
Yeah,
So you have to research stuff and you can't give your power away to a doctor. Yes, you should respect them for the
yeah,
knowledge that they have. And if in your knowings, when you take prescriptions, in your knowings, you go, oh my gosh, that's making me feel this way or that way or whatever. We've got the internet now. You can research it. You can call your doctor back. You can look at a different way of going there. There's so much out there that you can do for yourself. And too
yes.
many people just they just want a quick pill to fix everything.
Yeah. Or somebody else to fix them, and abstaining
Yeah.
from any self responsibility. What is life about but experiencing the
Yeah.
journey of life in its ups and downs?
Yeah.
I've interviewed people that I'm shocked they're still alive, or that they're still smiling, that that they're contributing to society, because what they've gone through. I won't blame them if they gave up,
Mm-hmm.
because it's horrific, but they found an inner strength and an
Mm-hmm.
inner courage in them. And that's one of very, very important things, is we sell ourselves short. We are
Yeah.
so much stronger than
Mm-hmm.
we, led ourselves to believe. And we're so much more empowered. And if
Yeah.
you find that doctor, whatever practitioner you're with, and say, I'm very grateful for your service, but work with me.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily for me or me handing myself over to you, but work with me. Let's look
Mm-hmm.
at how we can do this together and look at it as a team.
Exactly. That is so true. And there are so many other natural healing. I studied Ayurvedic healing
Mm,
because I was having a lot of pain with my MS on my arms. Now, a long time ago, neurologists would tell you, oh, MS doesn't have pain. And I'm like, yeah, it does. And it would hit out of nowhere. I mean, Sarah, I could be sitting there watching TV with my husband, and all of a sudden, bam.
yeah.
I mean, nothing's wrong. I'm not stressed out or anything.
Hmm.
And the pain on my arms, and then I would get little hot spots, and then I would get little blisters. And the doctors would say, oh, you're being burned. How can I be burned sitting on my couch?
Right.
So when I studied Ayurvedic healing, and I found out I was a Vata Pitta dosha, which is a body type, and they said, you have a lot of fire in your system.
Hmm.
So in order to put out the fire, put some organic coconut oil on your skin at night.
Mm,
You know, I haven't had any pain in my arms since I've been doing that.
right.
None.
Right.
So there are a lot of different healing techniques out there.
It's been open to it.
Mm,
Doctors have only really been around well, a couple of hundred years, if that. The thousands of years before that was all the
mm,
natural healing that
yeah,
we say alternative healing, but it was what was there to start off with, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, and they knew, that it's like the native Indians. They know you don't just heal the body, you have to heal the mind and the spirit as well.
yeah,
And very often, where is that pain coming from? Is it even this lifetime's pain? Is it
yeah,
coming from a past life or ancestral DNA? Um, be inquisitive and seek out. You found out your body types, and now you
mm,
knew what you needed to do.
mm,
And that's the thing, understand yourself, mind, body, and soul. Understand
mm,
yourself, because then you'll realize there in that information, there are so many tools that can help you move forward in life. It's
yeah,
we seem to be forever chasing ourselves rather than just stopping and allowing
yeah,
ourselves to be.
yeah. Yeah,
This
that's so true. And there's always something to learn from it. So always
absolutely
step back and say, what do I need to learn from this experience?
right. That's what it's there for, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
show our strength and courage and the knowledge that comes out of it.
yeah,
Yeah, and we are here to learn. That's what our job is.
yeah,
You write about the past. The past does not exist. It is gone. Why are you stuck in a time caught up in memories of pain that never was or will be? The past and the future are simply your perceptions of what you think. Take no thought. Now, the
yeah,
past, is an experience we've had,
yeah,
and some of it is wonderful memories, and some of it isn't. And we take
mhm,
wonderful memories forward with us,
yeah,
and we take the lessons that we've learned from the past forward with
yeah,
us. But as they say, be emotionally tuned in, but don't be emotional about it. And if you're
yes,
stuck in your past, you're being emotional about it, and it's
yeah,
stopping you from moving forward.
yeah. And it's just so amazing how many people want to keep dragging their past along with them. And I'm
Weighing
like,
them down.
you didn't like it then, you know,
Right.
you don't like yourself now because you're acting this way. You're acting the same way that your mother did. Why are you doing that? And they
Right.
go, well, I don't know. I don't know. You know, when is God going to tell me? God's not going to tell me. God is in you. God is
Yes.
in me. God is everywhere. You know, He's here right now. Just choose it. All
Yeah.
you have to do is choose it.
Yeah.
And it's, it gets frustrating at times at how many people, because I was messing with one of my clients one time and I said, well, we're talking right now in the now. When you came in here, that's now past. And when you leave, that's going to be future. So if we talk long enough, we'll be into the future.
A little too mind blowing for some people.
I know.
What I love to is right next to past, you've got gratitude.
Mm.
And, I say gratitude is a positive attitude.
Oh, yeah.
And, you saying take nothing for granted. Become grateful, generate an attitude of gratitude for life, for love, for yourself, and then you may live life to the fullest. Smile and become grateful. Gratitude is like kindness, enormous.
Yes,
Because when you are
definitely.
grateful for what you have, you're right. The
Yep.
tsunami has come and washed you out, but you're stuck in a tree. Be grateful you're in the tree.
Free.
Because somebody can rescue you.
Yeah.
It's if we look to what we have rather than constantly concentrating on the have-nots, we would be more grateful.
Yeah. And when you're grateful for what you have, then you get more of what you have.
Yes.
So many people are afraid to like donate stuff or give it away or whatever. Give it away.
Yeah.
If God wants you to have it, you're opening up space for more.
Right.
You know, be grateful for that. Like every, and I learned this through my MS because there was a day when I woke up and I fell to the floor. I didn't have legs for
Hmm.
3 months. And it ended up being a reaction to a flu vaccine.
Right. I
I
can't
was
have
told
those.
never
Yeah.
to get vaccines ever again.
Yep. Me too.
So I'm like, okay, thank you for that. And then I've woken up before and my eyesight's been all messed up. And it's lasted for again about 3 months. I had to wear a patch over one eye while I drove a car. I was like, this is great. But little by little it came back. So now, when I look at the full moon, I great, and I put that picture in my mind, and I'm so thankful for my legs, and I'm just so thankful for every
Hmm.
single little thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a huge thing. I was given fibromyalgia. One of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons was is that my cosmic energy was a little too high, so they were going to dampen it, right? So, and I understand that feeling of, your body is with you one moment and not the next.
Yeah,
And there's sometimes you can push through it and say, not now, buddy. And other times you just have to go, okay, I surrender.
yeah,
And the surrender isn't giving up. It's surrendering to the moment. My
yeah.
body obviously needs to recharge or it needs some loving attention.
Mm-hmm.
When I give that, I can get back to life. If I ignore that, it's going to give me the cosmic 2x4. So
Yeah,
again, it's learning and tuning in. And you don't, yeah, the pain can piss you off sometimes, but if you get angry, you're going to make that pain worse.
oh, exactly.
Right.
I was
So,
taught by a spirituality person a long time ago, don't identify with the pain.
right,
Just say pain is present.
right.
And of course, sometimes when it hurts so bad, you just want to take the spirituality and throw it in the trash. But it's like you were saying before, it's giving yourself permission
Yes.
to take a day off. It's giving
Yes.
yourself permission to take care of yourself instead of always taking care of everybody else.
That is a huge one because especially, my particular type is to constantly give. And then you give and you just suddenly see your gauge on the fuel thing is in the red. And it's
Yeah,
like, you've got to go fill up your tank. Otherwise you're pushing your vehicle.
yeah,
And, so it's pay attention to the signs that are within you of what you
exactly.
need to do. And if you go, well, but I was paying attention and everything was fine, but I still got knocked over anyway. Uh, Sometimes we don't understand why. We've just simply got to go through the process. Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think if you try and understand why every time, but why, you're stuck so much in the why that
Yeah.
you're not living, in the now. So if the why can be answered, it will be, but it may come much later
Mhm.
in time where that,
Mhm.
okay, now I understand. And
What I teach
sometimes
my
it just
clients
is.
is that there really isn't any why.
Mm,
It just was.
yeah,
It's like God is the I that I am.
yeah,
If you're searching for the why, it's like Don Quixote going after the windmills.
right.
You're searching for a nothing, a no thing.
Yeah, yeah. Now you have another one here on violence. And, violence isn't just about people storming Capitol Hill. There's the violence that we even do to ourselves or our loved ones. So you say violence is a fearful act. Violence is not loving. Therefore, violence is not a reality of God. Man chooses to make it real. This is so absolutely true. God is love. There
Mhm.
is no
Yeah.
religion. Oh, well, there's plenty of religion written that you have to hurt someone or kill someone if they're not
Yeah.
your cry. But if you're looking at the message of God, when you're truly tuned in, it is all about kindness and love and abundance and letting your cup runneth over. You
Mhm.
can dislike something, a
Mhm.
dislike an act, to dislike something going on in your life. But the moment you step into hate, it consumes you and
Yep.
it devours you and it spits out
Yeah.
from you. And where is the room for love?
Yeah. That's why, so many people ask me, like, well, he shot that man, or he shot that man, or why did God allow him to shoot that man? God didn't allow him to shoot that man.
Yes.
That man picked up that gun and made that choice in that moment to shoot that person. And
The
as
human
bad,
choice.
and as bad as this is going to sound, that was the best that man could do in that moment.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, we all sign a soul contract before we come here, and
Mm-hmm.
so, we don't really always know what the experience is meant to be,
Mm-hmm.
long or short of it. It's what we do with it.
Yeah.
And if it's taking you down a dark path, then it's for you to look at it and go, does this serve me? Does this serve anyone else?
Yeah.
We can't make people turn around. We can
No, you
inspire
can't.
them, and we can have all
Yeah.
the tools ready to welcome, but it has to be their choice. That's free will.
Yeah.
Now, death. So many people are afraid of death, and
Yeah.
death is just leaving this vessel. The spirit carries on, but you've written, in truth, there is no death. Your energy will simply change form. Your human form will be gone, and your true essence, your soul and your spirit, you will you will know, as it has always known, the peace that you have strived to reach while on this earthly plane. Amen, sister. Absolutely.
Uh,
You know, so busy being afraid of dying, you've forgotten how to
mhm.
live.
Yeah. I wrote that one because I was in an accident. Oh gosh, back in the 80s, I guess. And I was in a coma for 3 days.
Mm,
And I remember leaving my body, and I remember floating up. And I remember it being the dark place. There wasn't any gnashing of teeth or anything, thank God. And I remember it being so dark, and I remember it being so cold. I remember being cold. And then all of a sudden, at the end over here, there was this doorway. It was exactly like a doorway, opened up, and this brightest white, most beautiful light ever shone through. So I thought, well, I'll go over there. So the best I can say is I floated, that way. And this man comes in the doorway, and I call him Christ, the Lord. And he stops me, and he says, "It's not your time yet. You have a lot of good to do on this earth."
mhm.
And I kept looking around him, and I was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful in there.
Yes.
If you kind of move away, please,"
Yeah.
because I really wanted to go in there.
Yes.
And he said no. And as soon as that door slammed shut, and it was just like the sound of a door slamming shut, I was awake. I was in intensive care. There were tubes everywhere, and people were running everywhere going, "She's awake, she's awake." And I was like, well, what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know there is another side. I know
Yeah.
there is peace.
Yes. I often refer to it as going home, because that's where the
Mm-hmm.
spirit and
Yeah.
soul comes from. Um, I've faced death a couple of times in my life, and um, not in such a long coma, but one before, while I was in labor with my son, it just suddenly disappeared. And I'll come back when it's over. um, but I think the fear of dying comes from people who A, don't know how to live, and B, who don't really understand the love of God,
Mm-hmm.
and that we will have many lifetimes in our
Yep.
book of experience, and each time will be a different vessel, and that it's nothing to be feared, but which means you don't rush towards it, because, as
Yeah.
he said, it's not your time. You've got to go back
Yes.
and do what you need to do, and when your time does come, the it is a beautiful experience. Not if, of course, if there's violence involved in it, that's a different
Yeah.
scenario, but crossing over can be just as beautiful as coming into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when your time does come, again, surrender
Mm-hmm.
to the beauty of that transition. So
And
yeah.
one thing I tell people too, Sarah, is that I know people are still with us.
Yeah.
I learned that after my father passed away. My father and I were very close. My mother and I had issues, but anyway, my daddy was raised in Montana. So when I went to his funeral, when I came home in North Carolina, there was one male deer in my backyard. And
Mm.
that was daddy telling me he was okay. Okay. A couple of days later, there were three, and there was a female and two male, and he had a sister and a brother who had crossed over
Mhm.
before him, and he was telling me that he was okay. And there are actual times when I'm going to say hear, for lack of a better word,
Right.
when I know Daddy is with me and
Hmm.
I know what he is saying to me.
Yes.
So anyone who has lost a loved one, they are still with you. They are still looking after you. They are still, if you have something to say to them, if you want to be forgiven for something, just talk to them.
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah. If you remember that movie, forgotten the name of it now, but it's where the kid says, "I see dead people."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I kind of grew up with that. I felt the entities of people around me all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I used to play with them, and I just didn't understand why nobody else could. And it's just purely because that my plane was opened to them,
Yeah.
right? So it's we are so limited in our thinking that this vessel, this earth, is all it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah.
And when we look at that, this beautiful vessel we've been given is to have this experience. It's
Yeah.
the ride in order to have the experience, the earthly cosmic experience. It can be, yes, it's a struggle, but it's so rewarding at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. And you can't have the experience just as a humanoid or just as a spirit. You've got to have the human
Yeah.
spirit, the beingness, to truly understand and immerse yourself right into it. And that's when the fear leaves, isn't it? Because you know that you're in good hands. You
Yeah.
know
Oh,
that you're on
yeah.
that vibration of love where you're safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about being in love. I
Hmm.
mean, love with yourself. I mean,
Yes.
unconditional love, no judgments, no expectations, no motives. And it's all about learning. Because the
Yes.
philosophy I teach people is a philosophy of one finger out, three fingers back, which
Hmm.
means the good you see in others is the good you have inside yourself.
Right.
And conversely, the things about other people that hook you are the universe's way or God's way of showing you what you need to work on in yourself. And if you can just drop it, then that's not necessarily in you.
Mm.
But the next day, if you go, well, I don't know why she was so angry, and I don't know why she was so angry, and you keep going over and over about that, okay, what in you is still angry?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, you're worrying at a sore and you're just going to make it worse. So,
yeah,
it's sometimes it might be just, going for a jog and screaming on the bridge, letting it all out. So
yeah,
you've got one here, realness. Get real, right? Feel your feelings. They will lead you towards the truth. Become really enthusiastic about your life and know your truth. The only one who can truly, that can take, that can truly take care of you is you. Stop looking for someone else to do the things that only you can do.
yeah,
We're here to assist one another, to
yeah,
guide and support one another, to share skills and tools, but we're not here to live your life. That's your
yeah.
job.
Yeah, I have an organization here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it's called R.E.A.L Health LLC. Of course, REAL stands for really enthusiastic about life, because that's what I teach people is that when you're really enthusiastic about life, then yeah, you're going to have bad days and not so good days. And you can still go through life with that smile on your face and inspiring others and encouraging others and doing what you can for our society in our world and our planet to heal it.
And that's what we are here to do,
Yeah,
to have a healthy earth. I mean, this earth
yeah,
right now is she's angry and she's upset and she
yeah.
is letting us know that if we don't change our ways, she'll evict us.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Yeah.
earth can survive very well without humans. Thank you very much. Right? But we
Yes.
can't survive very well without her. So
Yes.
I'm on to the other book now, Truth.
Okay.
Taking Responsibility Unleashes True Healing. And there's one I just opened up to because I like to just open up to where it comes in.
Yeah.
And nothing is true or false. Everything is the color of the crystal that you look through. What you perceive in your life is a reflection of a combination of your beliefs, your knowings, and your experiences. Everyone knows you can either see a glass half full or half empty. The choice the choice you make will be a reflection of what you have been through in your life and what you have been taught by society. Remember, you can always choose differently. Today, be aware of the color of your crystal you look through to see your life experiences. Perception is just such a huge thing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, exactly.
It's
And
where judgment comes from.
even when you see the glass half full, it's still, I mean, half empty, it's still full
Yes.
because the other half of it is filled with air molecules and atom
Yes.
molecules and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So the glass is truly always full.
Yeah. Yes. Again,
Mm-hmm.
perception. There's a wonderful drawing
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook where a guy, they're looking at logs and the guy's pointing, no, three. There's only three here. And the guy's on the other angle and said, no, there's four. Right. And from
Yeah.
perception, yes, there's only
Yeah.
three, what he could see. The other one can see four. Why are we arguing about what we're seeing? Why don't we
Yeah.
just turn the tables and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. What are you seeing? Oh, okay. You see that and I see that. Isn't
Yeah.
that cool? We can see things from different angles and it can change. But instead, human nature is, it immediately jumps to judgment and argument.
And that's another thing that I teach people. One of the principles of real health is that there are no problems. There are perceptions and misperceptions. And to the extent you see something as a problem, is simply a misperception. And you need to step back and look at it again, look at it differently.
We have four key personality traits. And we are born into those traits, and some of those traits are kind of governed by our life experiences. And that is our perceptions. That's how we're going to communicate, how we receive communication, what we value in our lives, and how we, are productive in our lives. And it comes from that particular personality trait. And I'm always saying to people, know thyself. Know
Yeah.
who you are. Who are you
Oh, yeah.
as a mental perceptionist, as a heart and soul being?
Yeah.
Know the whole of you, because you are taking this full vessel and all that its wiring and programming with
Yeah.
you forward. If there is some programming that does not serve you anymore, delete it. Otherwise, it's going to cause a virus in your
Yeah.
body,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's okay, I'm a particular personality type that may be too sensitive to take this, so if I'm that sensitive, don't put myself in that situation,
Yeah.
right? So
Oh, yeah.
know thyself, big one. You've got one here, like it. True power comes from within, right? Success does not come from other people or external situations. True power, success, comes from within you. You can respectfully guide others when you respect them, and you cannot respect them until you respect yourself. An effective leader treats everyone, his and her, equally, who listens to the ideas from those in his or her guidance. The truth applies to family, friends, and work situations. It is important to treat everyone around you with the same kindness you want to receive. A compassionate leader with quiet strength inspires people to trust and to follow. That is, how many people thrive on someone yelling at you, dictating at you, controlling you,
Yeah.
judging you? That vibration is just so, oh, it shuts people down and it
Yeah, it
throws
does.
people into fear.
Yeah.
Why are we inspired by the leaders that can step into their rhythm and into their tone, and that inspire us with love, inspire
Yeah.
us with making it right? And they lift us up, right? They
Yeah.
lift us up and fill us up
Yeah.
so that we can rise up. So again, very, very powerful. In writing all of these, was it something that purely came from your life experiences, or did you channel any of this information?
No, both books came from God.
Right.
I didn't want to write either one of them. Actually, I didn't want to write the first one, which was Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire. This is the second edition. And I kept hearing these vignettes coming to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I hear you. And no, go pick somebody else. Please pick somebody else. I mean, look at me. Bleach blonde hair, long fingernails. They are not going to listen to me. And God came back and he goes, why do you think you've been through everything you've been through? And I'm like,
Right.
now you tell me? Now you tell me? So I started writing these. And actually, my husband I'm married to right now, he thought I was having a breakdown because I could not stop writing.
Right.
And literally 5 legal pads later, I just went and set them down on the computer. And this was back in 1999. And I just walked out of the room. I said, there, God, they're written. Okay, fine. And every time I cleaned that room, I saw those legal pads. until one day I sat down at the computer and I transposed them. I said, okay, they're in a file. And then all of a sudden I got a publisher and I was like, gosh. And then my publisher got me on, had to go on the internet. So I wanted to do something to inspire people that was like Healing Words, Life Lessons to Inspire, yet different. So I came up with doing a truth of the day. And that was back in 2011. So I started writing them 7 days a week. And then I thought, well, I need the weekends off. So now I put like a picture with a little blurb or something on the weekends to give me a little bit of time. And every time I start to write a truth of the day, and I'm writing now into March, I literally sit down in my quiet spot with my meditative music that works for me. And I talk to God and I say, okay, what do you think the people need to hear? What do you want me to write now? And they just come.
Yes.
They just come. And so when I started writing the truth of the day, people started saying, well, we need these in a book. Well, I didn't want to use any of them that have been on the internet. So I sat down and it literally took me 7 months to write Truth, Taking Responsibility, Unleashes True Healing. And I thought, okay, they're in a book. And of course it was published, and it's been a journey. It's been a great journey, and it's been very rewarding. And it's become my purpose to wake people up. That's what I want to do. I want to wake people up so they'll quit saying, you made me do that. No, they didn't make you do that. Why did you choose to do that?
Yeah.
That is a choice, you know. So they both came to me.
Well, I'm a big person on the knowingness, so you allowed the knowingness.
Yeah.
You stepped out of your own ego. When I write, or even when I do my own shows, sometimes I know what I'm going to say. Sometimes I just press record and what comes out. The same as when I'm writing it, it's, I may have a particular, I want to write or address that situation. How I'm going to do it, in what format, it will literally just come. And that is, again, the allowing, the trusting, the letting it be, and getting out of your own way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The ego holds us back so much. Even when you think you've gotten out of your ego, then God says, well, handle this one. And I'm like, okay, I messed up again. Okay.
You've got another one here, which I like, short and simple. No person is a failure who is enjoying life. Now, and before I read that any further, if you've fallen flat on your ass and you've got to get back up again, that is not a failure. If you tried something and it didn't work, that is not a failure. If you are constantly moving forward, trying different things, which has yet not manifested, that is not failure. Giving up is a failure. So this is what you say. Enjoying life is one of the most important things you must give yourself permission to do. You can enjoy what you are doing, or you can complain about it. If you are complaining about something, change it. Life is too short not to enjoy such each and every moment of the day, rain or shine. Today, become a success. Choose to enjoy life.
Yeah.
We have overwhelming days where just like, oh God, nothing's going right, or I feel, and it's not a failure day. I didn't get this done. Oh, I'm beating myself up. And it's like, you weren't meant to get it done. The interruption was perhaps we on earth don't connect, but maybe things weren't aligned for you to do it today.
Yeah.
All right. And so if you just give up, as we talked about earlier, like I've got a diagnosis, I'm going to die, I've given up, it's to understand we have all that strength and courage with this, but we have incredible abilities that we don't even know we've tapped into yet. And so it's looking at, what choice do I have here? And you're so many more.
I'm sorry, sir. And if you try something and it doesn't work that way, then try a different way to do with it. Like I reached out and connected with you. I try to reach out and try to connect with somebody because I want to get these, not just the books out, I want to get these messages out to people to wake them up. So I risked and I connected with you, and I thought, well, if she wants, fine. If she doesn't, and we connected, and this is a beautiful moment. This is great.
If you're not willing to be open to receive, Now, not every door you open up is going to be a golden nugget like yourself, and you're
Yeah.
going to go, okay, yeah, you're doing something great, but it's not my cup of coffee, because I don't drink tea. It's and nor am I everybody's cup of tea or coffee, right? I have a particular style of my own. If there isn't a synergy between us, then we're not going to be able to make it happen. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean I wish you ill, or that I'm wrong or you're wrong or we failed.
Hmm.
None of that. It just means
Yeah.
there isn't that vibrational connection. And it's
Yeah.
same for the people who are listening. I'm not a quick 5 minute
Hmm.
show. I
Yeah.
like to peel away the onions and really, get into the heart and soul of it.
Hmm.
And kudos to any of our listeners that have listened to throughout the
Oh yeah.
show, because you don't get this kind of information on the quick download. You've got to
It's
be
true.
willing to give the time to listen,
Yeah.
to learn, and to apply.
Yeah, you've got to do the work. And if I tell people what you focus on expands, what you think about happens, and they think, well, I'll just think about success and it'll happen. No, you think about it and you put the effort and the energy into the opportunities to make it happen.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I sent God a message and he hasn't answered yet. He's answered on so many ways, but you weren't paying attention because he kept waiting for the Amazon delivery. Right. Yeah. Another one you've got is when you honor others by treating them correctly, you honor yourself. Huge one. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is a key concept in many philosophies, religions, and spiritual texts. It is a very simple and clear cut rule. At times, it is challenging to honor others when they are the ones mistreating you. Yet, when you honor others in any way, you are holding yourself up to a higher standard. Bestowing your gift of loving kindness on all your fellow human beings will generate that kindness to come back to you. Today will make a better world by adhering to the golden rule. That is so important, isn't it?
Yeah,
Don't, it's, if I want to be respected, I have to treat not only myself with respect, but others with respect.
exactly.
It,
Yeah.
what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah.
So,
People always think, well, if they'll do better, then everything will be better. No, you do better first. Okay. And you treat others better. And I always tell people if you're in depression, do something for someone else.
yes,
Because when you lift yourself
yes,
up to give to somebody, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, that's great. I'm not depressed anymore. Well, of course you're not depressed anymore because you're not focusing on self. You're not focusing
yeah.
on that egotistical self.
That a story about that is I had invested in an industry that, long story, but in short, came to an end. And I was kind of at a crossroads. And did used to suffer from depression. I'm on something now, so I don't anymore. Um, and I have to be of service when I'm like that. So I wrote something and
Okay.
I was responding to some other people on social media. And this woman read what I wrote and went to my site and she said, "Oh, I love what you're doing. Come and be a host on my network." On my podcast. And I go, "What's a podcast?" Because it's 9 years ago, I didn't
I
know.
know.
And
Yeah.
so for 13 months, I was on her network, which was live. And this is the
Yeah.
reason why I don't do live anymore. Far too much can go wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and it was such a wonderful learning lesson for me. Not only did I discover I love doing this,
Yeah.
but where I was giving up on humanity and thinking, I don't blame God if he pressed delete, suddenly I am now interviewing people and meeting people who have gone over to the other side of truth and love and kindness and
Yeah.
what they're doing for the greater good, for humanity, for the planet was so inspiring that
Yeah.
now it's 9 years later in my own network, and you don't know where something's going to go.
That's
Don't
true.
dictate it, don't predict it, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. When an opportunity presents itself, grab it with both hands.
Yes.
That's true.
uh yeah, I mean, it's oh, I don't know if I could do it. Well, try.
Yeah.
Right, just give it a try, and see,
Mhm.
if you can, because again, we sell ourselves short so much.
Yeah. That's why I teach people to get into their knowings, which is
Yes.
your gut, your stomach area, and get out of their beliefs up here because your beliefs are going, well, I can't, I
Yeah.
should have, I would have, I could have. No, get out of that junk in there. Take
Yeah.
no thought. Get into your knowings.
That's what my knowingness is the gut. will always speak the truth to you. The soul, that's where the soul speaks to your
Yeah.
heart in resonance and truth. It gives it to the spirit to get into action, and the mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. This is the database. When
Yeah.
you come from the soul and the heart, that is the truth and the wisdom. It knows
Yeah.
how to use the knowledge in the database
Yeah.
in that knowingness of what you need to do right now. If we get stuck just in our head, all we are is a whole load of information spinning around, and we don't know what's relevant to the moment because we haven't
Yeah.
engaged the heart and soul.
That's true. Very true. And I lost my thought, but that was good. I'm sorry.
All right. I'll read something else in the meantime.
Okay.
Take a deep breath and respond, never react. Now, that's a big one of human beings because we want to react, right? That's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel sensitive to a situation, you might find yourself overreacting instead of responding to the issue. Take a step back before you ruin a new relationship and utilize your deep breathing techniques to respond, whether at home or at work. Respond from a higher place within yourself. This may take some practice, especially if you have learned to react. In the long run, it will save you many hurt feelings and reduce the unnecessary drama in your life. Before you interact with anyone, remind yourself to take a deep breath and respond. Today, feel more concentrated and calm as you face the day. This is, I think, kind of one of the key problems is
Yeah.
we are we're kind of wired to respond, and we haven't got all the information. We feel
Yeah.
everybody's out there to attack us. We don't
Yeah.
really know why they said that or did that in the first place. If we just took a breath and took a step back and go, why are they reacting that way?
Yeah.
And what is my
Well,
response? Will it add fuel to the fire, or will it put the fire out?
yeah. When someone says something to you, if it punches a button or triggers you, and you feel like you're going to react, you need to always take a step back and respond out of love. Always, a reaction is always fear based.
Yes.
Response is always love based. So you
Mm-hmm.
take a step back and you say, you know, I heard what you said, and I'm going to get back to you on that point because I really want to think about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of reacting as to, well, I don't know why you said that. I've always, that just breathe your, it's a fire. It's a
Yes.
fire of fear.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. Well, you can, but it's not
But
good.
it's not going to have a good result. Yes. I like Don Ruhn's Four Agreements.
Yeah,
Speak your
I
word with
love that book.
integrity. Don't
Yeah,
take things personally,
yeah,
right? Never assume. Ask before you pass judgment, and simply do your best by your perception of what is best, not somebody else's. And it's
mm-hmm.
four key principles that if we adhere
Mm-hmm.
to in life would save us a lot of grief.
Oh, exactly. I mean, again, it all goes back to learning
Yeah.
and staying in a love-based mindset and saying, okay, how can I do this? How can I come from love, an unconditional love of, again, no judgments, no motives, no expectations?
Yeah. Expectations. That's a deep one, isn't it? Um, you know, I say that we have been living by other people's expectations and dictations,
Mm,
society's approval of you.
mm,
And it's such a facade. And I think one of the reasons why we've gone through the year we've gone through and that we're still going through was to rebalance who and
mm,
what is important. We know that our frontline workers, and that's anything from the janitor, the cashier, the truck driver, the nurses, the
yeah,
doctors, they are our heroes. It's not
yes,
all about the CEOs or the person who's got the most followers, the
yeah,
most popular on TV. And one of the beautiful things is what we've seen in many of the shows, especially talk show hosts, they've all had to do it by Zoom,
yeah,
right? But what have we seen? We've seen people in their own homes, no,
yeah,
professional makeup and hair, all
yeah,
relaxed. And we have got so much more really deep content out of them,
yeah,
because before it was kind of painting an illusion of what they are. And
mm,
here we're now seeing the reality of what they are. What do we want more? We want the reality because we want to know they're just like us. They just have
oh yeah.
succeeded in other areas that we may not have yet.
Well, our societal teachings are so incorrect.
Oh,
I mean, we teach, as a society, we teach worry, we teach
yes.
anxiety, we teach
Distrust.
stress,
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're stressed out, take this pill. If you're
Yeah.
worried, take this pill. If you're a good mother, then you worry about your kids. Well, if you were a good mother and brought them up right, why should you worry about your kids? I
Yes.
mean, my daughter used to be over in Antarctica for a while, and my friends would go, "Aren't you worried about Stephanie?" I said, "Why? She's doing what she loves to do.
Yeah.
I brought her up the best I could. I'm very proud of her. I'm not going to worry about her. Why should I waste part of my day worried about her when she doesn't even know I'm worried about her?"
And how was that going to help her?
Yeah,
She is not going to feel the worry vibration. It's
yeah,
but she will receive a loving vibration from you because it's a
yeah.
higher frequency. It can travel further.
Yeah, that's why I teach people too. The family members are so important when a
Yeah.
family member gets a diagnosis, because
Yes.
their thoughts and their concerns and their worries will actually trigger and make that diagnosis worse for that person.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
have to be okay with it also.
Not this, I don't know what to say. I'm going to avoid them. Oh, you poor thing. Oh,
I know.
I remember once going to a fibromyalgia clinic that someone took me along. Oh, you might enjoy this, Sarah. Come along. And I had to listen to this guy who had once been an addict. And he had all these people with fibromyalgia, and all of them were talking about, oh, the pain. Why I managed to get out of bed to come here. And just, oh, you poor thing. Oh, da, 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 da. And she said, don't say anything, Sarah. And eventually, and
Yeah, I know.
I go, um, can you tell me why we're feeding the pain and not feeding the possibilities?
Yeah.
And I realized the guy's addiction from
Mhm.
drugs had gone into misery. And
Yeah.
everyone there, it wasn't about, I had a good week. Fantastic. What did you do? We could all
Yeah.
benefit from this.
Yeah.
It was all about feeding the disease and,
Yeah.
keeping people miserable. And we know that a lot of people, we all like to have attention, but don't we want to have attention that's positive for what you've
Yeah.
achieved and not for what's broken within you?
Yeah. That's why I stay away from MS support groups,
Yes.
because they actually want their. I was on a MS website one time and I was putting positive stuff, and they told me to get off, that they
Right.
liked their pain. And I was
Right.
like, okay, y'all can have your pain. That's fine. Because we we're taught wrong. We're
Right.
taught incorrectly. Worry doesn't help anything. If worry would cure MS, I'd worry about it for the next 48 hours. Maybe it'd go away. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also, trying to fix people. My son, hates the fact that I have to work with this, and he knows that there's certain things I'm challenged to do. Um, I'm an
Mhm.
asthmatic as well, have been for 64 years, so it's not
Yeah.
going anywhere. And mum, you should do this. Mum, you should do that. Your mum should do that. And I remember just taking him by the face one day and saying, "Stop trying to fix me.
Yeah.
Just simply love me. Do you
Yeah.
understand of how much love is in a hug? How
Yeah.
healing that is. Every time you're telling me I need to do this and do that, you're treating me as if I'm broken.
Yeah.
Right? I'm challenged,
Yeah.
but I'm not broken."
Yeah. I have so many people I'll speak with, and when they find out that I went through epilepsy and, of course, then MS, they go, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "No, it's okay. You don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to be that. I'm not
right.
going to be that little victim. I was that little victim. I was brought up being that little victim. Oh,
Mhm.
poor little Mary Ellen has this." And I'm not going there. Been there, done that, not going back.
So this one is very appropriate. See the light in yourself in order to bring the light into the world. The light of the world dances within you. However, you are unaware of this light because you have not looked deep within your heart. Reach deep inside yourself and see the colors of the light hidden within the darkness. Clear the cobwebs away from this darkness so your light may shine in our society. Today, bring light into your life.
Yeah.
Again, it's that permission. I lived in darkness for a while. I was in a bad marriage. I was very unhappy. It was the beginning of my fibro before I even I knew I had it.
Yeah.
And I knew there was light over there. I just didn't know how to get there. And
Yeah.
finally, I managed to get out. And then it was, of course, too bright. And then you
Hmm.
felt the shadows are constantly chasing you. But
Yeah.
I kept moving forward, not looking back, kept moving forward. As I said, even though I may have fallen, I got back up, fallen, got back up,
Yeah.
just keep persisting. And now I can go into the dark without any fear whatsoever because
Yeah.
I am the light,
Yeah.
right? You've got to be
Yeah.
willing to
It's
take the
like
journey
we've
there.
all been in a darkened closet all
Yes,
our lives.
yes,
And so when we come out into that sunlight, you're like, oh, wait a minute, it hurts. So
yes,
you go back into a darkened closet and you come out a little bit more. Or it's like wearing an old pair of house slippers around the house. You know, they're really great, they're really comfortable, but they're all broken out, so you got to get a new pair. Well, the new pair starts hurting your feet until
hmm
you get them broken in.
yeah,
And it's the same way when you come into the light.
yeah,
You go slowly and you embrace it, and you embrace it with love, and you drop all that fear. You just push that fear back into that darkened closet.
yeah, yeah. And not to be afraid of the dark. I love the
Yeah.
dark. It's my sanctuary. I can go in there.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of any of the things. Because what I see in the darkness now is clarity.
Yeah.
Because I'm no longer afraid of the dark consuming me because I am the light. But got to be working, get at
Yeah.
that. If you want to be young, act young. Now, that doesn't mean, mini skirts and go-go boots at the age of 80. It's a young attitude. The
Yeah.
easiest way to promote your youth within yourself is to behave in a youthful, light-hearted manner. Too many times we as adults think we must adopt an attitude of sternness to promote maturity. A childlike mindset will help you see the challenges in front of you in a new light. When you play, you remind yourself of the importance of fun, even in the responsible world of being an adult. But being reminded of fun can make you feel more youthful and energetic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know of her, the Pink Lady,
Hmm.
right? She's 88, has her own TV show, full of
Yeah.
chutzpah. I've had her on a
Yeah.
couple of times. I had her on with Esther Schifrin, who's written a poem every single day of COVID. And
Oh,
she's an
wow.
artist, a musician, and an author. And I had the two of them on together, and you talk about energy. And,
Yeah.
they've just decided to live in the now, to enjoy the moment. They've had their own disasters, they've had their own pain, they've had
Yeah.
their own suffering, but they've said, okay, I've been through that. Don't want to go back.
Yeah.
It's
I
about it's
know.
about the joy today, right? And
Yeah.
live in today's joy.
And it is. It's all about having fun. You can still have fun when you're older. I have tons of clients when I ask, well, what do you do for fun? And they're like, fun?
What's that?
And I'm like, well, what did you do when you were a kid for fun or whatever? I mean, because I still go paddle boarding, I still go hang gliding, of course, with an instructor. I like to live. I mean, we have an axe throwing place downtown. My husband and I we went to escape. We like to live. And even during the pandemic, I walk the neighborhood or I get out or I make myself get out and do things. And even with a mask on, you can say hi to somebody. You
Yes.
can say, how are you doing? And you can say, excuse me. And I go, oh, I'm so sorry, I was in your way, excuse me.
Yeah.
You know, we have too many people out now that aren't mannerly.
Right.
They're not being kind to each other. We have to get that kindness moment up, have fun, embrace aging. Aging is experience. I mean, in a couple of weeks, I'll be 69. Okay, I don't feel
You
69.
don't look 69 and your aura doesn't feel bad
Thank
at
you.
all. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
And and I,
I've had people who've said to me, but oh no, no, don't tell anybody your age. And I go, hell, I've been struggling to live my entire life. I'm going to tell people my age. I'm 66 and still alive.
woo! Yeah,
Again, goes back to that attitude, doesn't it? That
exactly.
gratitude.
Yeah.
And I
And
refuse to be written off because I'm on that side of the numbers.
I also, I mean, I know, I mean, I've got a lot to give yet to our society, and I'm going to give it, and nobody's going to stop me.
Exactly. And it's again, so many people I've interviewed from 50s up right to 88, and my youngest was 10, who wrote a book of 365 days of gratitude with a positive attitude.
Uh-huh.
Right, so from 10 to 88 is the age group that I've interviewed. When we interview people who are older, they have gems and nuggets like this book,
Yeah.
this experience and this willingness to open up and learn and then share what they've learned with other people. This is an orchard of wisdom ready for clicking. I've got 2,700 shows here. It is an encyclopedia of knowledge. So
Yeah.
wherever you're going through in life, for me, I have a show of somebody who's been through that and who's willing to share how they got out of it and what skills and tools and
Yeah.
attitude they had on it. It's like, No, the world does not belong to the young. The world belongs to all of those that are still living, no matter
Yeah.
the age.
Yeah. And the world belongs to those of us who want to learn
Hmm.
and come from love
Yes.
and treat everybody else with respect and kindness and love.
And we're going to keep learning,
Yeah.
keep stumbling, keep getting back up, right to,
Yeah.
our exit, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, my dear, I could carry on talking to you for hours, and I've loved everything I've read here in this book. And I think that, thoughts are creative energy. I've got to do this one. Prayers are the thought we give out to create a desired outcome. Worry is also a thought that consumes your energy. Every thought you choose creates an experience with reality and the universal God. When you worry, you are praying and leading energy to the creation of something you do not want. Begin to retain your mind to focus on thoughts and energy of what you do want to bring into your life. Again, what you feed is what will grow, right?
Oh,
So,
exactly. And
yeah.
I've got to tell people why the peacock's on the cover.
Yes, please do. Of course, I love the colors. Oh,
You know how peacocks get their beautiful feathers?
no, how?
They eat thorns. And the
Oh,
harder the thorn is to digest in the digestive tract, the more beautiful the color in the tail.
oh, I
And I
didn't know.
relate that to people going
Mm,
through our life experiences. As we go through an experience and we eat that thorn and we learn from it,
yes,
okay, then we can become the beautiful, peaceful, successful people that God put us here to be.
exactly. Beautiful. I did not know that. And of course, you look at a peacock and the colors are just exquisite.
Yeah,
And we think, well, they're naturally born with it, but no, they've got to create it. So
yeah, they do.
that is really wonderful. So it's taking truth, taking responsibility, unleashes true healing. There are
Yeah.
366 daily truths serve to guide you. And of course, the healing words, life lessons to inspire. Both
Mm-hmm.
of these books would be a wonderful gift to self, but a
Yeah.
wonderful gift to give to other people that you know that are, at a crossroads or just down and need picking up. And what I love about books like this is I go to it and I go, what do I need to know today? And I open it up and that's the page. And friends
Mm-hmm.
act as mirrors reflecting back to ourselves, right? So,
Yeah.
or balance the world with time spent caring for yourself.
Yeah.
Then that's what you're needing to know today.
Yeah.
So both of these books are absolutely wonderful. How do people get hold of them, love? And how do they get hold of you?
Well, they're, of course, the books are on Amazon, and you can go through my website for a link. My website is askmaryellen.com. Of course, that's in the United States. So it's www.askmaryellen.com, and you can connect with me on all my social media posts. It has my personal cell phone number there. If you buy the book and you have a question, you're free to give me a call. I'm here for you.
Right. And I believe you have a gift for
Yeah,
one listener that has listened all the way through.
yeah. If you listen to this and tell Sarah something you learned from it or whatever, and I'll give a copy of Truth to a person, and how about a copy of Healing Words to somebody else?
Wonderful. And believe me, folks, you're going to want to have it. I've been going through the book. Yeah, and the thing is, there's nothing rocket science here. It's just, it's just when you read it, become determined to get things done,
Yeah.
and just simple things it's what we all go through daily. But just having somebody say something to you that just puts you in sync, that puts you in alignment, because it's so easy to
Mm-hmm.
go out of alignment, and to have something which is just a truth. Learn to be attuned to your feelings by helping others. It's your present thoughts set you on the path of future life. They're all very simple. It's not a long, big rocket science book. And this one too is also simple sayings, healing words, and it's things we need to know and we need to be reminded of, and it'll help heal you, but it would also make a beautiful gift to someone else that's going through struggles. And
Yeah.
I think it's have a book club of it, and then share your feelings of which part really spoke to you and helped you
Mm-hmm.
through it. Because okay, you can have a Zoom book club, folks. You don't have to wait until you can get together, right? So you've downloaded everything that we need to know that can help us through life. So thank you so much. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been such a blessing to speak with you. Thank you so much.
So it's askmaryellen.com.
Correct. And they can look at my Miracles with Mary Ellen posts. Now I'm doing Mary Ellen's Miracle Moments and Mary Ellen's Miracle Minutes.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well,
So
this is definitely what you were called to do. And thank you for opening up your channels and downloading this. We're in a world right now of transition. And,
we are.
you know, the disruption always comes before the transition because you have to clean house before you can renew. And it's not to be afraid of it because it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And to, you know, have books like this and people like you, because you do videos, not every day, but almost.
I do on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right. So on your Facebook, and you put out the videos there.
Facebook and Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel, which is also Ask Mary Ellen.
Right. So
I
all
just
of,
figured Ciganovich was too hard for everybody.
yeah, exactly. Says a cigar, what? Definitely. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for being out there for people. We all need a little help along the way. We are stepping in the world of Aquarius. We're stepping into a world of peace and productivity and harmony and love. But
Yeah.
you can't wait for it to happen, folks, because you are part of the equation and making it happen.
Exactly.
What's your
Yes.
contribution? What's your gift? Bring it to the table. Do not be afraid. But first and foremost, work on you. Know your instrument and then you'll be able to find your orchestra.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Sarah. I so appreciate you. Thank you.
Until next time, folks. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.